Hello, my name is Pawel and I'm your host as well as head of design here at Frontend House. And today we will be answering web's questions regarding design, so stay tuned. For this is Design's Aid. Okay, first question. Why are UX designers paid so much? I've recently heard of UX and UI and been researching about it, and for the life of me, I can't seem to understand why they are paid what they are paid. I see the value of having good user experience, whether it's picking the color scheme or figuring out how best to hold a product for maximum user satisfaction, but does that really deserve to be compensated nearly as much as a programmer who built the app and all its functionality? It seems like a much easier thing to figure out, the right font size, the right white space amount, learning Python or Java. I'm deciding which of the two, UX designer or software developer, to choose, and UX pales in comparison in terms of value in my eyes. Edit, this isn't a statement, it's a question. I would like to know. Okay, so this question was by CS Career Questions and posted by Skyline952 1 month ago. So, long story short, because good designers are worth it. So, from what I understand your question, you are wondering why, despite UX being easier than software development, designers earn almost as much as the programmers. So the first thing to point out here is basically that creating an application or a website or whatever in terms of software development is a team effort. It's not like the programmer comes and builds it by itself. And if there was no designer, trust me, your app would look like terminal in MacBook or in Windows. So you would just type in commands and you wouldn't have any interface. That's how it would look like. And as well as QA, like quality assurance. If you didn't have quality assurance, then your app probably wouldn't work. But maybe it would work in the basics, but it wouldn't work, for example, if you typed in your email address without an ad. So this is a great team effort of a lot of people, but UX designers and, basically designers of any kind, people that are working on user experience, they have like different responsibilities than software developers. Because software developers gets this app and this design shows him exactly what and when might or will occur, what will happen, what must happen, how it will look like, and all of that. So he doesn't have to think about it for himself. Later on, he just builds it when it comes to software development. So different responsibilities means that you require different skills from different people. Actually, for some people, software development might seem a lot harder than designing, but also for a lot of developers, being a UX or UI designer is a lot harder than just program stuff because they think that programming is easier. It might be because for some people, talking to a computer is easier than talking to a normal people. And designing actually means that you have to talk to a lot of people. So long story short, all of the people in IT department are paid well because they have their different responsibilities and their skill set must be really high. It doesn't matter if you are a software developer, designer, or a quality assurance specialist. It just matters that if you do your job well, then you are part of a team, you are part of this great team effort, and you deserve to be paid well. So that's basically why designers are paid almost as much as a software developer. Okay, next questions. UI design posted by Muavia Mogal 25 days ago. Need some help about UI UX guide. Hello, I've recently started taking interest in UI designing. I've been learning it, watching tutorials, courses on YouTube. I'm more focused on UI for now. I'm quite confused about user experience. Is it necessary to learn both? Should I learn user experience too? Seeing UX talks makes me confused. Should I focus on UI then learn UX? No, you don't have to learn UX to be a UI designer. Basically, it's good to possess some basic knowledge about UX when you are a UI designer, as well as about UI designing if you are a UX designer. like basic knowledge is much appreciated. But you don't really need to know both at the same time. Actually, from now, a lot of companies are getting out of this scheme that this should be UX UI designer. Most of the companies now hiring specialists in a very specific field. Like for example, user experience designer is working with user interface designer, and they don't have to like work. They work obviously together, but user experience designer doesn't do like UI stuff. And also in opposite way, UI designer doesn't do UX stuff. They are just simply doing the other things. And basically, when it comes to UI, it's more about the graphical styles, a lot of like aesthetics and stuff like that. But in user experience perspective, it's more about psychology, research, talking to users and stuff like that. So whatever whatever is like your thing, just pick one. You don't have to learn both, but it's good to know the basics of everything, just maybe because if people are talking to you, you know basically what they are saying. Okay, next question. UX design posted by a geologist, Legitimate 6 1 month ago. UI UX resources to get on track. Okay, so to get on track, obviously you can read a lot of blogs, YouTube, but if you are reading blogs or YouTube or podcasts, keep in mind that it's good if those people who are writing blogs or making YouTube videos, content or podcasts, they do write some links with sources down below their videos or the content, because it's very easy to just write a statement based on your instincts, not based on science or research. And then if it's your instinct, then it might occur it might happen like you were right in your own case, but in different cases it might simply not be happening, not be a right choice. So if you are going for a blog or something like that, just go to see if the sources, if they are posting sources that you can go to and just research what they are saying about, what they are talking about. That is very great like habit to do so if you are learning from blogs and just people from the internet. Other ways, and this is my personal favorite, is books. Books are really great. It's a lot harder to write a book than a blog post. Obviously, you also need to do some research which are authors to read, but there are great psychology and books about UX design, great books about UI designs, and obviously there are some like sort of like Bibles, like the design of everyday things or Don't Make Me Think, and those two books are very often mentioned as those Bibles, like the must read list, but there's a lot of more. So I would go with the books. And with blogs, after some research, but those books you need some research. So actually to get on track, it's best to do research to who listen to or to read. Okay, next question. Is it better to learn UI or UX? Very simple question. Depends. If you are more into aesthetics and overall look graphics, then go with UI. If you are more interested in people's behavior, go with UX. That doesn't really matter more besides that. Okay, next question. Question for the UXers in my network. When you meet people and they ask what do you do for work, how do you explain it? Okay, this is actually a pretty easy question. I always say that my job is to make sure that people using app that I designed are having satisfaction with it, as well as people who paid for this app achieve their goal. So mostly just as a UX designer, I make sure that people actually like to use my app and they achieve their goal. They are satisfied, as well as the business side. That's pretty much what I am saying. I think it's not most people actually don't understand basically, but it's often like when those meme posts is like what I think I do, what my family thinks I do, what my friends think I do, what my boss thinks I'm doing, and stuff like that. It pretty much sums it up. That most of my time as a UX designer, I'm just posting notes about certain things. Next question. What is the difference between a UX and UI designer and a web designer? A lot of people ask this question. Some people don't know or might find it quite difficult to differentiate it and to understand, but it won't be my word, but so by Interaction Design Foundation definition, user experience designer is the human responsible for creating products that provide meaningful and relevant experiences to users. This involves the design of the entire process, acquiring and integrating the product, including aspects of branding, design, usability, and function. So this was about the UX designer. And about the UI designer, UI designer is building interfaces. UI design is building interfaces in software or computerized devices focusing on looks or style. Designers aim to create interfaces which users find easy to use and pleasurable. UI design refers to graphical user interfaces and other forms like voice-controlled interfaces. So yeah, this is about the UI and then UX designer. With the web designer, things get a little bit trickier. I'm not really sure, but from what I know, web designer is kind of them both, like a one-man army, sort of. But for the last few months, maybe 2 years even, or a year, I haven't really saw a position like web designer. I think we are going away from it, and we are hiring people that are specialists in their own fields right now, and not people who are capable of doing everything. Because basically, if you are capable of doing everything, then you can maybe not have time to do everything right, or even you can't know everything. So it's best to hire people that are specialists in their own fields. What are the ways to improve UX? This is the next question, and user research and user testing. That's it. There's nothing more. Like, do your research and do your testing, and you will improve your UX. What are specializations under user experience design? Yeah, so as I said, I think some time ago we had like a web designer, then UX UI designer. Now then we put those two people like on silent and another side, but we separated them, and now we had like UX designer and UI designer, and there are coming more and more specializations, I think, every year. So right now, from what I know, it's like UX designer, UX researcher, UX writer. You also can have like a content strategist, information architect, or any other people that will be responsible for a certain part of your project. Of course, you will meet those people very rarely in like one project, because first of all, it requires a budget, and it involves a lot of people. So most companies that can afford that are doing those things in-house. So probably Google, Apple, Microsoft or Netflix, you can find those people in a project, in an app. But when you work in a software house, it's very rarely that you have so different people in one team working on one project. But it might happen. It's not like it's impossible. Last question. Yeah, the worst question possible. Which UI is better? It depends. It depends. I don't know. I don't know the context. I don't know the documentation. Don't know. For example, on the right side, I don't know what will happen if the photo won't be so vertical, big. What will happen if the photo will be smaller? Probably it will just get stretched. Don't know. Depends. I will need more info to tell you. Okay, so if they ask you this question on LinkedIn, it's not about knowledge or getting to know your opinion. It's all about engagement and reach. So it depends, and don't answer those questions. It's spam. Okay, so those are all the questions we have prepared for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, we post content on YouTube every Friday, so keep looking for those. And for everything else about software, you are welcome to look for it here at Frontend House.